All right, great. So welcome to the three massive mistakes entrepreneurs, business women, women in corporate make that stop them from sleeping properly and causes them to be really irritable, stressed, and just, not being very patient with their family, their friends, their clients, that type of thing, because they're getting insufficient sleep. So what I'm going to be sharing with you is what you can do, real good tips and techniques that you can use so that you start to sleep again. And over the next 30 days, if you implement what I'm teaching you, you're really going to notice a difference in the quality of your sleep as well. So I'm going to be going through and just asking different questions as we go through. So if you want to ask me anything as we're going, just let me know as well. So there's benefits to sleeping. So when we have a really good night's sleep, we are healing our body. So our body's doing the deep healing that it needs. And there's actually 1 in 3 people who don't sleep properly at night time. So if you're ever lying there awake, know that there's going to be other people doing exactly the same thing, not being able to get back to sleep, all right? Because when we don't sleep, it causes us pain and stress as well. And as busy people, especially women, we need to be able to function properly all the time, because when we don't function properly, we make mistakes and everything takes a lot longer for us to do as well. So sleeping is really important for us. Now, what happens most of the time is we wake up, our mind's racing, we start to think of everything that we need to do or that we didn't do during the day, and we can lay there for a really long time trying to get back to sleep and just getting more and more irritated that the time's ticking on and we're still awake and we know that the alarm's going to go off again soon and we're going to be lethargic and not focused and got a whole day ahead of us. All right, so how many of you wake up in the night and can't go back to sleep?
Absolutely.
yeah. And do you have trouble going to sleep when you first get in bed, or do you go to sleep quickly and then wake up in the night?
I personally go to sleep quickly, but then wake up numerous times during the night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And what do you think?
I'm getting to sleep quicker now, but when I wake up, I'm finding it hard to go back to sleep then.
Yeah. Okay. And what's the longest you think you've been awake for?
Feels like
Well,
all night.
Yeah, I was going to say sometimes pretty much all of the night. Like if I fall asleep and then wake up like an hour or two later, there's been times I haven't got back to sleep at all.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. And do you feel like a zombie the next day when you're trying to do things and you can't?
Yes. I had a really broken night's sleep last night to the point I've got a headache because I've had such a full-on day today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely. Not sleeping just can cause so many problems, health problems and things like that as well. So it can make the body start to feel stressed. If you're waking up between 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock, where most people tend to wake up, that's when your body really needs to go into that deep healing rhythm. And so if you're not sleeping during that period, your body's not able to heal and process everything that it needs to. And what you tend to do when you wake up between those hours is you look at the clock, look at your phone, see what the time is, and then you're trying to go back to sleep, and then you just keep thinking about different things, and then you look at the clock again, and it just goes on and on and on. So I'm going to be teaching you some things today as well to really help you with that. But first of all, when we don't get the deep sleep that we need, our brain doesn't work very well. Have you noticed that you can walk into a room to go and get something and then not remember what you've walked in there for?
Often.
Yeah. It can cause depression. It can cause emotional problems, increased illness, physical changes in your skin and your body as well. You can look much older than you are if you don't sleep properly. You can have increased sugar cravings as well. So you just keep going to the cupboard and looking for that junk food, we'll call it, so that you can keep going, or you'll have another coffee, that type of thing, to try and stay awake. Not sleeping can also cause weight gain. It can cause impulsive behaviour, so you can feel like you're calm and then someone says something to you and you just lose it. It can make PMS much more irritable every month, and if you are trying to have children, it can cause lower fertility rates as well. So there's a really lot of reasons why sleeping is so good for us, and it's one of the biggest things that people struggle with as well. What else do you do when you're walking around like a zombie?
I think that one's more at you, Paula. I tend to stay in bed.
Oh, no, well, I've actually been doing when I can't sleep, I either go into my office and get things done that I need to get done and then go back to bed, or I listen to my calm sleep stories, or I listen to my professional development courses.
Okay, so
And
you're really
sometimes
keeping,
I'll fall back to sleep then.
yeah. Yeah, so you're really keeping your brain active whilst you're awake. So I'm going to talk to you about that a bit later as well. All right, some of the things that you can do when you're walking around like a zombie is you can't concentrate, and then you can have more accidents. You can tend to find that you drop more things and then you have to keep picking them up, or you can just do things that are clumsy, you know, because your brain's really not focused. And I'm not talking about if you just have one night of no sleep. This is if it's going on for like a period of time as well. Or if you're like me, if I have 3 nights with no sleep, then I'm just wrecked. Like I can't even focus properly. Sleep's really, really important to me. So we end up doing things on autopilot and not even thinking about it very much. And then we go into meetings, we're not focused properly, we say things that are not clear or what we don't really mean. And so it becomes a bit of a mess, really.
Messy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And people can think that you're not very efficient in what you're doing. And can really cause you problems later on with your boss and things like that. I'm just going to let Becky in. Okay, so what are some other things that you do or you think could happen if you don't get sleep for a long period of time?
Well, just what I've seen with some of the voluntary work that I do is they hallucinate after 7 days if people don't sleep properly, and that leads to mental health issues. So I've heard. Yeah, definitely. It can cause so many problems not sleeping. It can cause car crashes. It can cause, you know, severe accidents, not just dropping things when you're a bit clumsy. Like you can have pretty serious accidents as well if you're not sleeping properly. Yeah, well, they said that it's the equivalent of being drunk if you're behind a wheel.
Yeah.
Being sleep deprived can give you the same dangerous effects as being drunk.
Definitely. And in the world wars that we've had, the Japanese, that was their form of torture to keep you awake. So it really, really messes with the body when you don't sleep. It can cause heart attacks, it can cause illness. The stress levels can go through the roof, and it can also cause marriage breakdowns as well, causing even more stress and anxiety on top of everything else. So it's really important that we get sleep. Now, research has actually shown, I've done research on sleep, and they've done studies to show that medication doesn't actually work, but they also have many side effects as well. So what they've done is they gave people placebo tablets and other people sleeping tablets, and there was hardly any difference between the two. So you think that you're taking the sleeping tablets, so then you go and sleep. All right, but they really, when they done these scientific tests, there wasn't much difference in the results. Now, the problem with sleeping tablets is once you start taking them, they can become very addictive, and it can take 4 to 6 weeks to come back off them for your normal sleep routine to kick back in again as well. Wow. So before you go on sleeping tablets or anything like that, really have a think of some different ways that I'm going to show you today that you can start to implement as well. All right, because all the sleeping tablets are doing is just fooling you. All right, they're not actually working. So who has a bedtime routine at the moment? No one? Okay, that's fine.
And part of why I'm here too, Anne, is because my son, since he was a little toddler, has never been able to get to sleep.
Yeah.
We've never been able to get to the bottom of it. And he's now at uni. And I think if he gets maybe 4 hours of sleep, and that's usually caught up by morning. And so what he does, because I used to think it was when he was little, it was like that before technology came into the picture.
Yeah.
But what he does is he just stays up on technology until the point that he gets exhausted.
Wow.
And he gets really good grades. So he's high functioning, which is great.
Yeah.
But that's going to catch up with him one day. So I guess part of me being here is because I'm getting better with my sleep, but I don't have a routine per se as much as I'm getting up and exercising now. And I think that's just, by the time I'm getting to the evenings, I can't sit up as late as I once could.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless I get on the computer, and then I'm in trouble and I can stay up until 2 a.m. And not on Facebook, like working, that's the crazy thing, getting into the detail of stuff. But anyway.
Yeah, the thing with a bedtime routine, it just really helps you to know that your brain starts to know that you're going to be going to bed. All right. And another thing that is really helpful is when you're struggling to sleep all through the night and get that quality sleep, if you go to bed at the same time every night and you get up at the same time every morning, even on the weekends. So you're just doing that for like 30 days or more to get you really back into a bedtime routine as well. Some other things that you can do to help you is when you're struggling. All right, if you sleep normally, then you don't need to implement these things because your body's already in a really good pattern of sleeping. But these are ideas that you can implement if you do struggle with sleep. So you can have a warm glass of milk. That really helps. All right, no TV after 9 o'clock, and that means no computers, no phones, nothing electrical. A warm bath will really help to set you in for the night as well. Lavender oil can help. And you don't want the lavender oil to be too strong because it can give you a headache. So what I suggest is you just put like 1 drop on a hanky or a small piece of cloth, and then you can have it near you when you first get in bed. And then when you've had enough, you can just like drop it on the floor or put it onto the bedside unit so it's not near you.
Is it lavender or eucalyptus if you're an asthmatic? Which one of them triggers asthma?
Eucalyptus is helping to clear all of the pathways in your nose and your sinuses and things. So
maybe it's lavender.
That's got that minty smell, like pine smell, eucalyptus.
Yeah, I just can't. One of them triggers Isaac with his asthma. He'll end up having an attack. I just don't remember if it's lavender or eucalyptus. So I'll look into that.
Yeah, it would depend on his individual situation as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But like the bedtime routine is some other things that you can do is make your bed every day. All right, because when you've made your bed, you're setting yourself up for success for the whole day. And then when you go and you're starting your bedtime routine at 9 o'clock, because you should be in bed by 10 o'clock, you can pull the covers down, and it's just another little trigger that your brain's getting that you're getting ready for bed. All right, so by going to bed and getting up at the same time, really you need to be in bed by 10 p.m. all right, because otherwise the rhythm changes over, and then you've gone into the next stage of sleep. So you really want to be in bed by 10, everything switched off, and your brain knowing that it's time for sleeping. So just remember, sleep is natural, it can't be forced. All right, so if you're not tired, you still need to go to bed, but you can't force yourself to go to sleep. So that's one of the things people try and do when they're waking up. They're like, come on, go back to sleep, and you just can't do it. Your body, it's a natural thing, all right? And the harder you try, the more anxiety you're going to have as well. So try not to have any attachment to sleeping, all right? When you wake up, whether it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, just don't look at the clock. All right, resist it as much as you can, because it's just another way of your body knowing I'm awake. All right. And what you can do is, when you do wake up, a couple of tips: turn your pillow over completely, so you're now laying on what was the bottom of it. Spend a couple of minutes just fidgeting and getting really like comfortable again, and then just lying really still. All right. The thing with the body, it can actually heal itself even if you're not going into that deep sleep, just by you lying completely still, all right, and not moving at all. So it's just another thing that will help you to really tell the brain, no, it's nighttime, I'm going back to sleep. So you're not listening to meditations in the middle of the night, you're not getting up. It's really important as well that you don't get up. Like if you're needing to go to the bathroom in the nighttime, there's bladder issues, all right, that your body's storing onto a lot of suppressed anger and emotion. And so in the nighttime, it's getting up to release it, because it's processing it unconsciously while you're asleep. So really, once you go to bed at 10 o'clock, you shouldn't need to get out of bed until 6 or 7 o'clock the next morning, all right? And not be waking up either.
I just thought that was normal, Anne.
No. No, and it doesn't.
I need to get up a couple of times.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you stop drinking at say 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. It's not going to matter, because what your body's doing is actually processing emotions. So you can think that you're not having a drink and there's going to be nothing left to wee, but you're still going to get up and go to the toilet. All right.
That's what happens to me.
Yeah, I'm doing that sometimes 3 or 4 times a night, and I think, geez, every hour, and I haven't had a drink since 6 o'clock deliberately.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Processing.
So body's processing, is trying to release all of the suppressed anger, rage that you're not allowing yourself to feel. All right. So some other tips as well: 98% of your body's cells are all new in 1 year. All right. It takes 6 weeks to make a new liver. Every month you get a whole new layer of skin. All right. We must be walking around just shedding the stuff.
No, I thought it was the dog hair in the house.
Yeah. Yes. It takes 5 days to get a new stomach lining. Okay, and 3 months for a whole new skeleton. And this is why sleep is so important for us. Your body is doing all of this whilst we're sleeping. All right. So
wow, that's pretty impressive.
All right. So the other thing that happens when we don't sleep properly is we become really time poor. So a 5-minute job of sending a really quick email to someone can take 20 minutes. All right, because you're reading it, it doesn't make sense, you're changing the tense, then you change the tense back, because you're not thinking properly. You haven't got the clarity that you need. And so just simple tasks just start to really take much longer, and you end up feeling like you're getting in bed at the night time and you've not hardly achieved anything. So when this keeps happening, the days get wasted and you just feel really frustrated. So what jobs, when you're tired, what jobs take you a long time to do?
For me, it's rewriting resumes, or, at the moment I'm writing a webinar, and you can tell the different days where I've done material. I've looked at some of it and thought, gosh, I can't use any of that. And then other days I thought, oh, well, I must have got a good night's sleep then, because that actually sounds quite good.
Yeah, so it really can make a difference. And it can leave you feeling frustrated, when you're doing something and it's just something really simple, and that you're so good at, and you know how to do it, and it's just going around and around in circles. So yes, there's a lot of things going on. What else do you do when you're time poor?
Procrastinate.
Yeah.
But I get overwhelmed then and think, gosh, which one will I start first? And then
Yep.
Yeah, because you can't think clearly, can you, when you're so tired?
Yeah, and put out, you, as you say, procrastinating. So you're putting off the things that you really know you should do, but because you're not feeling that into it that day, it's hard to. And so then things end up sitting there for longer than they ought to. And then ultimately someone else is frustrated with you because they've been waiting on whatever you're supposed to have had done. And you think, oh, I just, just couldn't get to it.
Yeah, definitely. And then so what starts to happen is you then get up the next day, you've got all of the tasks from the day before that wasn't completed on top of the new day's things that you need to do.
Yeah.
That's why the stress and the anxiety can start to build as well, because you're just thinking, oh my God, I'm already behind and I've not even started my day.
Yep.
All right. The other thing that people tend to do when they're sleep deprived is eat junk food. So they're so tired that they can't be bothered to cook anything. So they'll go for the quickest thing in the cupboard that they can find, or the fridge, shove a pizza in the oven, anything that is just going to be quick and easy. And they're looking for that afternoon sugar high, to keep them going, because they know that you've still got a few hours until it's bedtime as well.
Yeah. Yes. And that impacts the whole family, because I'll find if I've got a really bad week, that's exactly what I do. So instead of having takeaway as a treat one night a week, I might find 2-3 nights a week, I'm just like, you know what, I'm just picking something up on the way home, and just so you can sit down for a few minutes before you get started on the next thing. So, and it's not good, and even my son, he's a teenager, mind you, and he will say to me, really, Mum, we're having takeaway again tonight? And I think, oh my goodness, how many times have we had it this week? So and that's when I know I've had a bad week, and just think, oh, that we can't keep doing that. So,
yeah. It's the cost as well. The cost of keep having takeaways, it really does add up. Especially when you're doing it for a family. It's okay if it's just you, but if you're doing it for a family, it really starts to add up. Yeah,
that's right. Especially if you've already done the family grocery shop, and then you're going and getting takeaway on top of that. It's sort of like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. And the other thing that you may do is try and skip lunch, because you're trying to catch up with an extra hour. So you think, oh, I won't bother having lunch, I'll just work through. All right, not a good idea either. Can really cause weight gain, not eating regularly. And as I said, then you go looking for the sugar hits that you want, because your body needs something before it collapses. So you just want to make sure that you're stopping for lunch and having what you need to nourish your body again, so it can go for the afternoon as well. Otherwise you're just going to get more tired, because junk food will the sugars give you that kick for about an hour, and then you'll feel the dip again. So it's like you become on an emotional roller coaster ride with that as well. All right, so a couple of things that you can do. Now, when I say this is for people who work from home as well, and it's a really good idea when you're struggling to sleep to have your main meal at lunchtime. All right, because if you're not eating until 7 o'clock at night, your body's trying to digest all of that food still when you're going to bed, and it's really not helpful for it. So if you swap the meals around, and then just have like a light meal at 6 o'clock preferably is a good time to be eating. It's really going to help your digestive system. If you eat after 7 o'clock, it's just all getting stored in the body, because you're not even like moving around at that time either after that. So you just go and sit down, and then all the food's just staying inside you. So if you can eat your dinner and then go for a short walk afterwards, again, it's going to kickstart your metabolism and really going to help the food to digest as well. Another great tip is for you to have breaks during the day as well, even if it's 10 minutes. Just go outside, eat your lunch, and then come back and you'll be ready to go again, and you'll be much more productive than you was before you skip lunch. All right. So what do you think would happen if you stopped for lunch and you made yourself something that was nice and appetizing, and went outside and just took 20 minutes to eat it?
I do actually force myself to have lunch every day, so that one I've nailed. So I'll leave this up to Paula and Becky.
Yeah. Becky, do you have lunch?
No, not really, actually.
Yeah. So if you can start to implement it, I'm saying at the beginning, if you don't sleep properly, it can take 30 days for the new habits to kick in if you start to implement everything I'm sharing with you. So if you can start taking a 20-minute lunch break every day for the next 30 days, it's going to start to help you again. Because it's another point for the brain to say, oh, we're halfway through the day, you know? And what you're doing is you'll get all the way through the day, you're just giving your brain different reminders of what stage it's at. All right, so that by the time you're getting ready to go to bed, the brain is already on side with you. It's not wanting to go and have a party somewhere. Having lunch as well is going to help you feel more relaxed. You're going to start to sleep better as well. And remember, you're not just doing these things today for tonight's sleep, you're doing it as a pattern, a new habit, so that you continue to build on having quality sleep. All right, so go to bed before 10 p.m. I know myself, if I even go to bed at 10:15, I can lie there for an hour before I go to sleep, because I've missed my gap.
And how much sleep do you need, Anne? You know, that's probably where I always battle at, because I try and get up by 5 in the morning, and sometimes only because I've been getting up and exercising, so I'm finding that 9:30 I'm starting to get really exhausted, but I'll push it out. But if I go to bed after that 10:30 mark, I almost can't get up at 5. So what's the
body really likes to have 8 hours sleep.
It is 8 hours.
Yeah, and sometimes in the winter even more.
Yeah, I'm a bear.
Yeah, winter is a time when we hibernate, and our body is time to just rest and slow things down. So you could even have 9 hours in the winter, and your body could still easily deal with that. All right, so another couple of tips. When you wake up in the middle of the night and you feel like you're wide awake and you're going to reach for your phone to put on a meditation, and then your brain kicks in that, oh, I'm awake, what are we going to do? You know, it wants to go and play. What you can do, other than so first of all, you turn your pillow over, all right? Then you spend a couple of minutes getting nice and comfortable, and then you pick a spot on the wall or the ceiling, and you stare at it as much as you possibly can, all right? Now, what starts to happen is you'll start blinking, because you're staring at something, the eyes they get tired, and so you'll start blinking. But what you need to do is just keep staring at the same spot, all right? And generally, within 10 minutes of doing that, you'll be back to sleep, because the brain got bored, the eyes got too tired, so they shut, and you'll go back to sleep. All right. The darker the room can be when you're staring at the spot on the ceiling or on the wall as well, can really help, because you're just staring into darkness then. So that's another thing that helps. Another great tip: don't get up. If you wake up, don't go and make a cup of tea or go and do something or go and put the washing away or anything like that. No computers. Your body needs to know that between these hours, it's sleep time. All right, it's boring time for the brain. It can just go off and process everything it needs to without needing to get up and do other things as well. All right. Now, when we're lying awake and we think that we've been lying there for hours and hours, again, they've done scientific tests on people who have got subject insomnia. And what they found was that the people, when they was asked the next day, how long was you awake in the night? They'd say, oh, I was awake 5 hours. And then they was only actually awake for an hour. All right, but they thought that it was much longer than what they actually were. So another little technique you can do, you can have a piece of paper on the side at the side of your bed and a pen. All right, and you wake up and you put a line on it, so it doesn't have to be neat. You're not like getting the brain to think about this, you're just making a mark on the piece of paper, and then you lie back down and you try and guess when 10 minutes is up. And when you think 10 minutes is up, you put another line on the piece of paper, and you keep doing it until you've gone back to sleep. And then in the morning, you'll be able to see how many lines were on the piece of paper. All right. And then over the next 30 days, that will reduce as well, because you'll be getting back into a good sleep pattern. So you'll be surprised by what you actually start to see at the end of those 30 days. All right. The next thing that people do when they're not sleeping properly is they become a victim. So what I mean by victim is that they give their control over to other people. They don't make decisions themselves, and they really lose their power. Okay, they've got other people doing everything for them. And what they tend to do is, victims tend to put themselves last. So they look after everyone else first. Everyone else is a priority, and they'll be at the bottom of the pile, and they'll be tired, exhausted, not having fun anymore because they can't function properly. But they're still trying to make sure that everyone else in the family is okay and looked after. What you actually need to do is put yourself first, and then you're going to have so much more to give to your family, your colleagues, your clients, everyone else, because when our cups full, we've then got the ability to give to others as well. There's so many women who don't ask for help and they just struggle through. It's like we have it ingrained in us when we're growing up that women have to do everything. All right. If men get tired or need help or anything, they ask someone else to help them. Have you noticed that? Even if he's getting something for them that's really easy, but women will just like keep going, oh, okay, I'll do it. Poor me. We start having all of that self-talk. No one cares about me. I have to do everything, So you want to just make sure that you're putting yourself first as well, and just not having that. If you need help, ask for it. There's always someone who would want to help you. All right. So in the beginning, I said that the Japanese used to use sleep, like keeping their prisoners from sleeping. And they only had to keep the prisoners awake for 10 days and they would die. All right. It takes 2 weeks to starve to death and only 10 days to die without any sleep. So that's how serious sleep is. If you are sleep deprived, you will fall asleep as soon as your head hits the pillow. You're actually meant to get into bed and just lay there for a few minutes before falling to sleep. So just start to notice again, am I like out like a log as soon as my head's on that pillow, or am I there? Am I okay and knowing that it's time for bed for a few minutes before that happens? And when I say a few minutes, I really mean about 10 to 15 minutes. All right. I'm just going to have a drink. If you're in pain as well, that can stop you from sleeping. So find the most comfortable position you can beforehand. Use other pillows if you need them in between your legs and things. And you're really just trying to get comfortable so that the body can then go and heal itself. Does anyone take naps during the day? If only you had time. Some of the clients that I work with, they will fall asleep on the sofa about 8 o'clock. They'll sleep for about an hour, wake up, and then they're wide awake till 2 in the morning. So what you actually want to do is, if you are going to nap, make sure it's in the middle of the day. Excuse me. And then set an alarm for about 20 to 30 minutes. All right. Even if you want more than that, don't do it. It will really stop you from sleeping that night time as well. If you are sitting on the sofa at night time, and maybe you're watching TV or you're reading a book and you start to feel your head nod, like you're going to go to sleep, just get up and start your bedtime routine earlier. So go and get ready for bed, brush your teeth, pull down the bed, you know, and then if you do need to go to bed earlier that night, that's fine as well. So once you start sleeping again, you're going to be much more productive. You're going to feel healthier, be less stressed, have more energy, look younger, laugh more, live longer, and really have balanced emotions as well. So there are so many benefits to sleeping. So what are a couple of things that you're taking away today that's going to help you to sleep again?
For me, it's actually making a bedtime routine. I have one for Reese. I have an alarm set, and then that's when he starts getting ready for bed and we have a process, but then I'm just, you know, not far behind him because I'm just so exhausted all the time. Yep. So, and also the strategy is to not hop up, because sometimes I will make a cup of coffee at 2 o'clock in the morning and go back to sleep.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just that warm drink and then fall back with a sleep story, just fall back to sleep.
Yeah, so if you're going to have a warm drink, have it about 8 or 9 o'clock at night. You really don't want to give the brain anything that's going to activate it into thinking again. You know, the brain's got a job of a night time to help the body heal and process, and you're shifting through all of your unconscious and conscious thoughts and emotions that have gone on during the day. So the brain has got a job to do. But if you get up, it's like, oh, where are we going? Like, and then it's like a child. It wants to play, and then it's just not going to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
I wish I could rewind time and
don't we all, Paul?
Yeah. So anyone else? Did you pick up anything today that you're going to implement?
Yeah, I think that picking the spot on the wall would be good for me, because it's even though I'm starting to actually get to bed, which has been a really recent thing, and go to sleep, if I wake up, it's like, and you know, problems become insurmountable if you wake up in the middle of the night and think about it. Things like just I haven't bought any bread for lunch boxes tomorrow become a major panic item, and you think, why am I so stressed about not having a loaf of bread?
Yeah.
That's a poor example probably, but you know what I mean. So
yeah,
to pick that spot and force myself to get back to sleep instead of worrying about the loaf of bread, so to speak.
Yeah,
it'd be really good.
Everything gets blown out of proportion in the night. You can have full-blown conversations with someone, you know, that they said and he said and she said, and none of that was true, but it all becomes like a big story. And I've also spoken to people before who have actually gone and done a full day's work in their head, like they've thought about everything that they need to do the next day before they've even got up. So,
that's what I end up doing. So hence why I'm awake then for quite a while. It takes me to that sleep.
So you can really tell yourself, no, it's bedtime. Like, talk to yourself like you're a little child. No, it's bedtime. It's time to go back to sleep. And then turn your pillow over, get nice and comfortable, pick your spot on the wall, really stare at it, and just keep practicing doing that as well. All right.
Yeah.
The main thing is, don't get frustrated. Remember, you can't force your body to sleep. It's natural. All right. And if you do think that you're awake for really long periods of time, then do the paper exercise where you're marking on the sheet of paper just to see how
that's a good idea.
long 15 minutes is, 10 to 15 minutes is. All right. You're all getting enough sleep, because otherwise you'd be dead. But what you actually want is that quality sleep, so your body can really heal itself, and you look younger and everything as well. So take your lunch breaks, don't eat junk food, don't skip lunch. You know, all of the little things that I've mentioned, they will all start to pile up and just really help you to get back to sleeping again.
Awesome.
All right. So any questions on anything we've covered?
No, that's good.
Yeah, you learned lots?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
Yeah, I
amazing what
think-
our bodies do.
Yes. Yeah, Becky?
I was gonna say, I think my thing is going to bed earlier, because I just got why, actually, because I go to bed probably between 11 and 1, and I realized that rather than time management during my day, I needed task management, because I'll get to my diary and go, shit, it's an hour before I go to bed, and then I can do the 10 jobs that's been in my diary that I haven't done all day. So rather than just go tell myself in the day I've got all day to do these jobs, allocate task to time then. So I'll go, no, you've only got 5 minutes to do this, this and this, and then I won't have to do them, you know, the hour before I go to bed.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes even with that, like, I'll play little games with myself. I'll set like an hour on my phone, and I'll decide that I'm going to get 5 things done in that hour, and then I'm racing the clock. Because I can,
Good idea.
and if I keep doing that, like, I can get through massive amounts of work or admin or anything that I need to do in a really short amount of time, and then I'll take the rest of the day off. So
Great idea.
yeah, it's a really good idea. It's a bit of fun as well, you know. We want to have fun during the day, and we want to keep light-hearted and still being able to be productive. So it's just another thing that you can do, so you're not leaving everything to the last minute when you're going to bed. And Becky, really do whatever is possible to try and get in bed by 10 o'clock. It's going to feel really weird for you, because you're losing, it's going to feel like you're losing like 3 hours of the day. But also, when you first start going to bed at 10 o'clock, you just might be wide awake because you're not used to it. All right. So you have to just keep practicing with it.
Yeah, I'm actually excited by it. Like, it does excite me. I know that I will do it because, it just feels good to know that I'm going to be doing that.
You know, and let me know how you're all going. Let me know if you come up against any obstacles with it. Let me know how well you're doing, or if you're not, and I'll be able to give you tips and things along the way.
Perfect.
All right. So thank you for joining me. It's been good fun sharing all of these tips with you, and I look forward to seeing you all looking so much younger, more productive and energized, and just getting everything done that you need to.
That's the one. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
You. Thanks, Dan.
All right, lovely. See you later.
Bye.
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 Bye.